Back in November 9th, 1985, Jim Perkins and Kathy Garland tied the knot on board the SS Princess Louise, surrounded by their friends. We moved the party one dock over to the cruise ship Fair Sky, and after our reception, we bid our friends bon voyage and took off on a 10-day Mexico cruise. Fast forward 35 years, and that brings us to November 9th, 2020. On the Oregon coast, celebrating our 35th wedding anniversary. And our first stop, Astoria, Oregon. Astoria was founded in 1811 with an interesting history that included Native Americans, Lewis and Clark, a fur trading company, the British, and the War of 1812. But all we really wanted to do was look at stuff. And one of our favorite spots is the Columbia River Maritime Museum. They've got some great Coast Guard exhibits. Just south of Astoria, we came across the Ecola State Park, which I kept calling the Ecolai State Park. And since we were on vacation, we decided to pull in and take a look. We had to drive down this one-lane road for several miles, and then a short hike, but it was well worth it as it opened to an iconic Oregon coast view. Not far from Ecolai Beach, we stumbled across Cannon Beach. You'll never guess how Cannon Beach got its name. I guess one day a guy was down at the beach digging and he found an old cannon. This isn't the actual cannon, this is just a picture I found on the internet, but they thought, let's name this place Cannon Beach. Besides the beautiful open sandy beaches at Cannon Beach, another big feature is Haystack Rock. And Kathy managed to snag us a room at the Ocean Lodge with a perfect view of the rock. So after a hard day of exploring, we sat on our little balcony and watched the sun go down, and then billions of stars came out. What a great way to finish the day. So the next morning, as we're getting ready to go, we looked out our window and discovered we had a new neighbor. Now, I know you're not supposed to feed the wildlife, but this guy was so polite and patient, we just couldn't help ourselves. When we left that morning, we really didn't have a destination in mind, and as we were driving along, we found a sign that said Delray Beach. We thought we'd check it out. Delray turned out to be this never-ending beach for as far as you could see in either direction. And then we discovered you could drive on the beach but there was a lot of soft sand between the parking lot and the hard pack, so I chickened out. A short while ago, we took a trip to Yellowstone, of course to see the geysers, but also to look for elk. We drove 2 days, hotel rooms, the whole bit. Well, when we were driving from Del Rey to our next unknown destination, you'll never guess what we found. A herd of elk, bigger than anything we saw in Yellowstone, not days away, just a few hours away, right next to the road in someone's front yard. Ugh. Not far after our elk experience, we ran into Fort Stevens. Fort Stevens was completed in 1865 to protect the mouth of the Columbia River from the Confederate gunships and the British Navy during the Civil War. Fun fact about Fort Stevens, it has the distinction of being the only military fort in the United States to be fired upon by an enemy during wartime since the War of 1812, when it was attacked by a Japanese submarine on June 21st, 1942. Our next stop was the wreck of the Peter Erndale. The Erndale was a 285-foot four-masted steel sailing vessel built in June 1890. She was sailing from Santa Cruz, Mexico, bound for Portland, Oregon, with 1,000 tons of ballast and a crew of 27 that included 2 stowaways. On October 25, 1906, in heavy seas, strong winds, and poor visibility, they were attempting to enter the Columbia River. Unfortunately, she ended up 4 miles south of the Columbia, buried deep in the sand of Clapsam Spit near Fort Stevens. The wreck is still visible, making it one of the most accessible shipwrecks of the Columbia River area, also known as the Graveyard of the Pacific. Everyone on board made it ashore safely. In fact, 1 month later, an inquiry was held, and the captain and crew were recognized for their heroic efforts to save the ship. Captain Lawrence's final toast to his ship was, "May God bless you and may your bones bleach in the sands." Heading back to the hotel after a long day, you'll never guess who was waiting for us. Okay, we won't feed the wildlife anymore, I promise. Our last adventure of the day was to enjoy a little sunset, settle in, and enjoy the amenities of the room. All in all, it was a pretty good little getaway. We got to see a couple of cool things, the fort, the beaches, our new friend. The only thing left was, yes, Costco. Kathy had to shop at Costco because it's tax-free. Oh, one other note, the SS Princess Louise, about 5 years after we got married, it sank on the way to the dry dock for routine repairs. And to all of our friends who called after the sinking of the Princess Louise and said our marriage was in trouble, I'd just like to say, 35 years and counting, and there's no end in sight.